Hey y'all, it's me, Cody. Welcome to the Cody Knits podcast. To new subscribers and viewers, and welcome also back to all of the returning viewers. I'm so glad that you are here. I'm so glad that I'm able to take the time today and sit down and record this episode. Um, Got lot to talk about today. But let me start off with, for those of you who don't know, I'm Cody. I am Cody Knits on YouTube, CODI Knits on YouTube, and Ravelry. And there is a group on Ravelry called Cody Knits Podcast. If you want to join that. And also on Instagram, I am nurse_Cody. Sorry, I keep saying a lot. I'm kind of off balance today. um, so today I have a few things to talk about. I have a couple of finished objects. I have a lot of works in progress. Some mail. I have a few tips I want to share with you. Answer a few questions, and then we'll talk a little bit about some life updates. Yay! But first, I want to say thank you all for being so supportive and loving, and um, especially the past couple of weeks, at least the past week anyway. You guys have been so sweet on Facebook and Instagram, and I just really appreciate that. As well as everyone's been so supportive, just of the podcast in general, and I never imagined that it would, be where it is now. And yeah, I really appreciate each and every one of you, and I'm sorry that I don't get to respond, to every single comment and post on, on the YouTube and on Ravelry. But I do read them. I just don't always get to respond. And but if you have a question or specific thing that you want me to talk about on the podcast, there is a section I put there called Ask Cody. Feel free to go and add your questions or comments that you would like for me to address on the podcast, and I will be glad to include them. Okay, so let's jump on into the yarny stuff. I do have two finished objects. I have them right here. I put them in my nurse bag from um, Jennifer from Cupcake Crochet. She's so sweet and sent me that. So this is just a big bulky knit hat that I did. I hadn't made a hat in a while, and I just had this yarn. It's Lion Brand Wool Ease, and I just knit it on some big chunky needles, big chunky yarn, and it has this little pattern in the front. Kind of it's a cabling pattern, and it was pretty easy, but I mean, the pattern was easy, but working, I guess I'm a pretty tight knitter, I guess, and I tried to be loose through the cabling part, but because they were it was 8 stitch cable, so, you were taking 4 off and moving 4 stitches over, and with them being this chunky and stuff, it was a little bit difficult, but it was a pretty cool little pattern. See if I can I'd never made it before. Let's see, it's the right way to wear it. And it was in one of my little books that one of you lovely viewers sent me. This way. Pretty neat. Still have it on crooked though, don't I? Anyway, that's it. This will be one that I donate to my cancer patients. I just have to put a label on it that it does have some wool in it. But yeah, it was fun. I did it in like 3 hours watching a movie. And then my Messalina is finished. I had to block it twice because I blocked it the wrong way the first time. Thanks, Kay, for letting me know because I totally didn't read the whole pattern and I blocked it the wrong way. And I like how it turned out. It's actually small, pretty small, because the second time I blocked it, you know, you're supposed to have the actual this part, the garter edge is supposed to be you block it straight and then it forms the curve. Well, my bind off apparently is too tight and it didn't curve properly, or very well anyway. So I couldn't, in order to have it, anyway, I couldn't really stretch it out a whole lot and block it to be bigger. Although it does still have a little bit of stretch. But it's kind of more like a shawlette size. And I had plenty of yarn left over because I just did it for the pattern, for the number of stitches or whatever. But I kind of like it like this because I don't really wear like a traditional shawl. And this is actually one I could wear myself. Something like this as a scarf. And yeah, so I really like it. And it's really soft. Still smells good. So yeah, that was a lot of fun to make. I encourage you, if you haven't made it, I encourage you to go make it. Some people I know are a little intimidated by the cables in the front, but it's really easy. Don't let that throw you off, especially if you're a new knitter. This is a great one for a newer knitter who's comfortable in, you know, what's it called? Knits and pearls and things like that. And there's 2 different kinds of stitches that you'll learn. You'll learn how to do this little twisted stitch thing, which is easy. Once you do it, it's super easy. And then the little cable. And this is good because it's not a huge cable. Trust me, just go and try it. I mean, obviously the first time you ever do anything, I was talking about this on the last podcast, the first time you ever try a new type of stitch or a new concept or whatever, it's going to feel awkward and be a little bit weird, but this is a great project you can do. You can practice your cabling. It has plenty of knits section to it so that you can, it's not too daunting. It just has a little, halfway through you kind of have a little that middle section that you get to every time that you kind of have to think about a little bit, and then you go right back into knitting some more. So I really think it's a great one to do, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful design that Kay Jones from the Bakery Bears podcast did, and I am going to make another one, and make a bigger one because I want to give it to someone, and I want them to have the proper shawl. So I'll just probably go up I might use a little bit bigger yarn and or a heavier weight yarn and go up a needle size or 2 to make it bigger, because apparently I knit kind of tightly, so. And I didn't do a gauge swatch because it's a shawl, and so I didn't really pay attention. to that. But yeah, I really had a good time knitting it. I loved it, and yeah. So those are my finished objects. Now I do have a few things on the needles slash hook. um, First one I'll show you is this is in my bag from JC Sewing Room. She sent me. Um, I watched her, or we started talking on, I think it was either Ravelry or through YouTube or something, and I asked her to make me a bag, and I sent her the money, and she did. And she's also, I want to show you this because she, this is what I really wanted her to send me, because I saw her make one and it was so cool. And it's been a long time since I've shown you guys. And she has now made some more and kind of did a little modifications and stuff for it and has them available. And you should go check it out, because this is really cool, especially if you travel in the car. And it's a good way to store your crochet hooks or needles and stuff like that. So what it is because I should probably explain, is so on the back here you have a little pouch and you can put stuff in. It's really well made, by the way. And then this side has two pockets, one here and then one here. And what it does is it has these little snappy snaps, what I call them, snappy snap snaps. And what you do is it goes like that, and it goes around your seat belt. You snap it around your seat belt in your car. Now I'm putting it here because you can't see my waist, but you could have it down, at your waist, and you can just put your crochet hook and stuff in there. Let me show you. Gotta find one. You could also put some scissors. These are kind of big scissors, but just to show you how deep that first pocket is. See how big those are. But it could go in there. But your smaller scissors could go in there. You can put that. You could put some like glasses if you need to wear glasses sometimes to see the stitches that you're doing. But yeah, it's super cool. And what I love about this too is in the bag that she made, it has a pocket. She did put a little pocket, but and it snaps together. But I can also have this hanging inside, because of the snaps. It can hang inside the bag too, and give you extra pocket. Now she does have another version of this. It's more like a tri-fold instead of just a single fold like that. It's tri-fold. And this thing is really cool, and I really would encourage you to go and check out her site and her latest. Go watch her latest YouTube video, JC Sewing Room on YouTube, and she kind of demos it for you and shows you some other colors and stuff like that she has. And you can contact her, and she will be happy to sew some up for you. So yeah, I love this. But anyway, in this lovely bag, I finally casted on a shawl for myself once I finished my Messalina. This is it's called a mainsail, and it's by Wild Prairie Knits. And their website is wpknits.com. And the designer's name is Cindy Garland. I'm going to show you what it looks like. It's beautiful, and it kind of, the colors that she uses actually fit the name of the pattern. But I'm not using those colors. I'm using black and red because I had bought that black and red Malabrigo to make myself um, a shawl. And there's the black, and here's what the red. Sorry, the lighting sucks, but there's no light outside because it's rainy. It won't rain, but it's rainy, cloudy. And then the inside light, it always isn't that great. But anyway, this is how far I've gotten so far. I did make a mistake, but I'm not going to fix it. I did it kind of on purpose just to see how I liked it. But on the stripe part, on the wrong side, you knit still, so it gives you like this texture. So it's kind of like a little bumpy. And on this one, I didn't do it. I just purled so that it was flat. And but I kind of like the texture, so I'm gonna do the rest of it in the texture. But yeah, that's this. And this has been a fun pattern because I've learned some new stuff, some new techniques. I learned how to make one. I learned how to make one left, make one right. What else have I learned how to do? I think that's it for that pattern. And I had never did a make one left or right or any kind, or just a plain make one. I've never done that before. So what did I do? This pattern was really cool because it provided you a link to a YouTube video on how to do it, how to do the make one. And but that's always, whenever I come to a stitch I don't know how to do, I just search it on YouTube and watch them, and they always have directions on how to do them. A lot of the patterns have directions on how to do their written out directions on how to do the stitches, especially ones that aren't common. But sometimes it's good for me to like see it visually, see it be done, just to make sure. So that's that one, mainsail. And it's been a lot of fun to make. It's good. It's pretty simple. It has, you have to pay attention on the kind of like the beginning and the end, but where you're making your increases for the shawl. But otherwise, it's really good, TV knitting for me anyway. Um, and I've already memorized the pattern. I just keep a track on what row I'm on with a little row counter, and then I know, I do that many rows, and then it goes and switches to the up, just so I can keep up with when to switch to the other color. That's what I'm trying to say. So that's that one. Then I've been doing this is in my bag from Erin at Give Me Your 418 Southpaw Creations Etsy shop. This is the let's make sure I say the name of it right. Crashing Waves cowl that was gifted to me by the creator of JMO Creations. Very generous. And I've made some progress on it. Now this one I learned a new stitch as well. It's called a twisted drop stitch, and I think I did it right. So if you're watching, let me know. Is that how it's supposed to look right here? I think I did it right. But anyway, this is a really fun cowl. Another one that I would recommend that you, if you're kind of a newer knitter and you're trying to, just kind of branch out and do different techniques and stuff, this is a good one because you learn a new stitch. But it's also, most people have knitted like the handbrake cowl and things like that. It's just you're still knitting in the round, you're still knitting and purling and stuff. It just has a little different pattern to it, and so because of that, you get to learn a different stitch. So it's already basics that you already know, but then you add, this other stitch to it. Um, and you learn, and that's how you learn new stitches, or at least that's how I do. And so don't let them intimidate you, just try it. And that's what I did. I just I watched a YouTube video on how to do it, and that's what I did. And it went with how her pattern does write it out, specifically word by word on how to do it, and it followed that, so I felt confident that I could do it. So the yarn is Red Heart Shimmer. Red Heart Shimmer is a worsted weight, and the color is turquoise. Got that little shimmery stuff in it. And it's not my favorite to work with as far as knitting. I'd rather crochet with that type of yarn because it splits really easily, and it on the carbons, that stuff here is a little bit grippy, so it doesn't slide super easily. It's a little more work. This yarn really sticks, so not my favorite yarn to knit with, but I like to make hats and stuff out of it with it. I've made one using this Red Heart Shimmer and purple, and it had this cute little peacock patterning, and I enjoyed doing that. It was much better with the crochet, but it splits really easy with the needles, and it's not my favorite yarn to knit with, but it is pretty. So that's that one. What's in this one? Oh yes, this is my baby sweater. Let's see, what's it called? It's called Easy Pullover for Babies, Toddlers, and Kids, from knitting, crochet, sewing, embroidery, crafts, patterns, and ideas from the Pearl Bee. So I got it from pearlbee.com. One of you guys sent me the link to it because I was complaining about another one that I tried and I hated it. But this one has been wonderful. I've really had a good time knitting with it. So this is where I'm at now. Look how cute. Working on the little arms and sleeves. So I got I think I'm supposed to do about 4.5 inches of for the arm, and then I'll start with the neck or whatever, do the next part. But this has been a fun knit. I've really enjoyed it. It's easy to the pattern for this one is easy to understand. She writes it out perfect. You can't mess it up. And this is the name of the yarn I'm using is called Babe. And it is, I got it at the Cast On Cottage, which is one of my local yarn shops. It's nylon and acrylic. 55% nylon, 45% acrylic. It doesn't have a cute color name. It's just color 201, dye 12C. But it's white, and I don't know if you can see, but it has blue and pink specks in it. And the girls in my class, they don't know if they're having boys or girls, and I don't know if they're going to find out. I thought this would be a good one, it could be boy or girl, because that's blue and pink and white. And I did the newborn. Um, I haven't been rushing to complete this because the babies aren't due until February. But I just kind of knit this when I'm feeling like it. Want to do something different. That's kind of why I have like a few things, because I kind of get bored a little bit, and then I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. So, but I still want to knit, so I'll pick up another one. And anyway, that's how. And then this is the last one that I've actually worked on. Oh no, I got one more other than that. But this is my sock. Look how far I've gotten. Uh-oh. My needle stabbed my sock. That wasn't nice. I need one of those little DPN cozy thingies that everyone has, and that are so cute. So, last time I saw you, I was probably somewhere up here. I had to move my little marker because it was telling me where my the end of my round was. But I finished the gusset and the heel, and or the heel, whatever that's called, flap maybe, and then the turn, put it all, so whatever. I'm working on the toe, so I did everything up to the toe. So now I am working on doing the toe. No, not the toe. The foot and then the toe. Anyway, this was a pattern gifted to me by Miss Alice, as was the yarn. And if you've never knit a sock before and you want to, which is why they gave me this, I would recommend this pattern. It's called Plain Talk Socks: How to Knit a Basic Sock by Terry Leanne Morris, Sailing Knitter. Here's what the picture looks like. And what I like about it is, let's see, it's what, 7 pages long, but she's very detailed in showing you like how to lay your needles, how to pick up the stitches after you do the heel flap, how to do the decreases, and then when you get back to finishing the heel, it tells you like how your needle should look, so you can start knitting the foot. Very just kind of spelled out for you in black and white. It's easy to follow. I'm really enjoying this pattern. I'm learning the technique, and it's also a good project to take along, because it's not like knit this many rounds or whatever. You knit for so many inches and then you do something different, which is pretty nice, because you can take it and knit with it, like when you go somewhere. And I like, because it's the sock, I'm knitting on DPN, so it's pretty fast to finish a round. So if I'm sitting somewhere, at the doctor's or something, it's not like I'm gonna really finish in the middle of a round or something. And if you do, it's not a big deal. So here's the yarn. This is also gifted to me by Miss Alice. This is back when I had that crappy ball winder. And let me show you it's a Malabrigo yarn sock. And that's the color Persia. Beautiful. And this is my bag from Mina Make that I'm keeping it in. It's perfect for this sock. It's actually probably for those of you who do 2 at a time socks. It's plenty big enough for that. 2. Maybe I'll do two at a time socks next time. But I gotta finish that one, and then I still gotta knit another one. Knit another one. So, but I haven't been rushing to do this either. I've just kind of used it to take along. Now I did make sure that I did the I did like the heel flap and the, you know, where you have to pick up the stitches and do all the counting and make sure your stitch count is right and stuff like that. I did do that at home and got it so that I wouldn't have to, you know, be out and about and trying to read a pattern and figure it out, because I needed to sit down and concentrate. Now, the other thing that I have been working on that I'm super excited about, and I've been having a blast, is my memory blanket, my sock blanket. So this is what I've got so far. I have 4 squares. I'm going to tell you a little more about yarn shortly. But I just wanted to show you I got 4 squares done. I don't have the neatest little pickup thingy in the back because I'm still kind of learning. And I didn't do it so that all the kind of lines that run down the middle go the same way. I kind of did it, I don't know if you can tell, where they all kind of start. It's almost like they start in the middle and go out like a square. And I can't decide if I want to just like make it square, like, you know, like that, or if I want to do a row and then another row and then make it like that. I'm not really paying attention a whole lot on as to like how these go. It just kind of ended up that way. And then I was like, oh, and I was looking at the picture and I was like, that looks a little different. So obviously I had one of my original square turned differently whenever I put on my second one and whatnot. But they're all attached. Now, my squares are smaller than most people's, and I did that on purpose. I think the pattern called for, let me see, a 4mm, a US 6, and I'm using actually a 3 because I wanted the fabric to be a little denser. I mean, it's still a little airy. You can I can still see through it when I stretch it a little bit. But I like this size. I didn't want it to be the other. But anyway, this is one of my stitch markers that Jennifer gave me from Cupcake Crochet. A little angel wing. I thought that's cute. But that's how I use that to mark which side is my decrease. My decrease side. Because I'd forget. And it's just easier to look down and see if is it there, is it on that side, then I decrease. If it's not, then I just knit. This is so much fun. I've been having so much fun doing it. It's been so like if I just have just want to knit something and have something that's like I feel like I finished something, even though the whole blanket isn't finished. It won't be for a long time. Like if I finish a square, I feel like I finished something. So when I'm wanting to have some kind of finished something, I do a square, and it doesn't take that long. I think I can do a square in less than an hour. So it's pretty fun. Anyway, and that bag is a secret I'll tell you about. Kind of got a sneak peek. Let me check my notes really quick. Let's see, I showed you that. Oh, I haven't made any progress on the blue simple cable scarf. I haven't worked on it at all, and I figured I wouldn't. Um, I'm not in a hurry to make it, so it kind of just sits there. But maybe I'll pick it up today and at least do a repeat on it. But that, oh, one more thing. I have been working a lot more on my corner to corner blanket. This is how big it is. I kind of just been playing it by ear as far as how big it is. I think I'm gonna make it. It's not quite. It's pretty long, but it's not quite my wingspan. I'm gonna make it probably as long as my wingspan. And once it gets that far, I'm gonna start doing the decrease. Maybe I might not. I might just do a couple more repeats of the three colors, one or two more, and then kind of make it more like a little lap blanket slash baby blanket. Anyway, I keep this by my couch and I just knit or crochet it when I'm just kind of sitting because I can just do, you know, it's easier to put down and pick up than knitting. I can just, even if it's like, okay, excuse me, even if it's like, okay, I have 10 minutes before I have to leave to go to clinic or whatever, I can sit down and crochet crochet on it for 10 minutes, and I might not get all the way across the row, I might, and it's just there and don't have to worry about it. Okay, next is the mail call. I'm so excited. I got a couple of you guys have been amazing and sent me some packages, and the first two, well, the first one, well, let me start. First two are for my sock yarn blanket. And they sent me all these minis, like tons of them. And look, all the pretty colors, and they're labeled with what they're called. I'm not going to show you all, but it sent me a bunch. And I didn't get permission to mention the ones that sent me those are on the channel, but you know who you are, and I really appreciate it. And you guys are always in my prayers. Remember that, and keep in touch. And thanks. All of these have come from that stash that I got. And then Miss Alice sent me another bag full of sock yarn minis. There's some beautiful yarn in here. I'm like, ooh, I want to knit a whole thingy out of it. So I got these things in the mail this last couple weeks, especially this last week. It's been a little bit rough. I'll talk a little bit more about that. But it really has made my week, made me so happy. And the last thing I got that I want to show you is a package that I got from another viewer. That's so sweet. Um, she sent me this cute card Got the flamingo. And this is from Miss Diane. I'm not going to say your other name because I didn't ask, but you know who you are. And she heard me mentioning how much I love tea. And she offered to send me some tea from England. It's like true English tea. And it's so good. I've drank a lot of it. You sent a lot of tea, and I was so excited. And it's so delicious. And I'm drinking it like a madman. So thank you for the tea. And she also sent me another little surprise, a gift. And it's this bag. Look how cute. And she sent it as a little congratulations gift for making it through this last summer semester, because we all know I was struggling and worried there for a little bit. It was rough. So let me tell you exactly. Let's see. It's made from a 100% Irish linen tea towel, which I think is super cool. And I love this bag. And this is what I'm keeping my memory blanket stuff in. Yay! So thank you so much. So much. I'm truly grateful, and I'm having a blast knitting the sock yarn memory blanket. So much fun. And just so you know, all these cards and that I get from you guys, I post them on the wall behind my computer, and it reminds me of you guys and the encouragement. And so I always keep the cards, and they're so sweet, and they mean a lot to me. And I appreciate all of you. Let's see. Okay, tips. Tip time. Everybody likes tips, right? Especially if you're a server. You like having your tips. We're not, so I have two sets of tips for you today. One set is knitting, I guess, kind of like technique tips, and the other set is more like Nurse Codi tips. Um, so the first thing we'll talk about is like the knitting techniques, and I'm not going to show you how to do any special technique, but what I wanted to suggest to people who are just learning to knit or have been, you know, thinking about knitting but are scared because, you know, you're scared because the stitches fall off the needles, and then you have to start all over, and it's a pain and all that stuff. And it's not as easy just to rip back a little bit like you can with crochet. So what I did and what I suggest is that you watch on YouTube videos on how to fix mistakes. And I think that is, once you kind of learn the whole knit purl thing and you get that down, I think the next step that you should do is learn how to fix the mistakes. That way, you're not intimidated by your knitting. You're not afraid to make a mistake. And mistakes are okay. Nothing is perfect in the world. And it's okay to make mistakes. And but I think once you sit down and you take the time to knit so what I think you should do is watch some videos on how to like if you dropped a stitch, how to pick it up and fix it, and then you're all good. If you have to like rip back a couple of rows or something, how to put the stitches on your needles again in the correct way, things like that. Um, I think that if once you watch those videos, knit a little swatch. Just take some big old chunky needles, big old chunky yarn that you don't necessarily even like, and knit like 20 by 20 or something. Just like knit across a little bit, cast on some stitches, then purposely drop a stitch and do like make a little stockinette swatch, and then purposely drop a stitch, and then practice picking up that stitch, how to fix it, pick it up so that it still looks like a knit stitch. Then do the same thing if it's turn it over and figure out how to pick it up and fix it if it's a purl stitch. Purposefully make the mistake. That way you can practice fixing the mistake on something that it doesn't matter. You don't want to practice, well, I don't necessarily want to practice fixing mistake on a project I'm making for someone and with really nice yarn, and risk splitting it really bad and whatever. But fixing the mistakes is really not that difficult once you understand and see it done a couple of times. And then once you are have practiced, when you're knitting, you're not going to be as intimidated by your knitting. I think that was my problem when I first started knitting. I was so afraid of making a mistake that it wasn't fun. I was too busy stressing out because I was afraid I was going to make a mistake and not know how to fix it, and then have to rip it all back. So using lifelines, I've mentioned that before. Use a really thin thing, but then also the best thing, I think, I still recommend using lifelines for big projects and stuff. You don't ever want to have to rip back a whole, especially if you're doing lace or something. But go and practice that, because like I said, it'll make you more confident and with your knitting, and you won't be as afraid to make a mistake. And if you drop a stitch, you'll know how to fix it. You won't freak out. You'll be like, whoops, I dropped a stitch. Pick it up and continue on. It's like no big deal. But there's plenty of videos on YouTube. If you just type it in, like fixing knitting mistakes, and type that in, and there's tons of videos on how to do it that are really good. And I'm a very visual learner. And then I showed you some books the last time on fixing mistakes. Let me go grab it really quick. It's right there. This one. Knit Fix, Problem Solving for Knitters by Lisa Cartis. Get this book. I mean, it's a little bit, it looks like it's kind of old or whatever, but it's a great book. It has pictures in there. For those of you who didn't see it, the last, it starts off with like how to knit and purl and tensioning and stuff like that. And then like see how it has like vertical fixes for stitch mistakes, and it has good pictures in there on what to do if you drop a stitch. And it goes into to point out like this is how it's supposed to look, and then if you make this mistake, this is what it'll look like. So you can kind of look for it and know, if you know what to look for, and you have the confidence that it's really not that hard to fix a drop stitch or something like that, then you're going to feel more confident and you're going to be willing to go out and, you know, make another shawl or whatever, and you're not going to be stressing out, oh, what if I mess up? What if I mess up? You don't want to be stressing out like that while you're knitting. For me, it's calming, it's relaxing. But I do remember when I first started knitting, I was like, wow, it's like, this is hard. I'm going to drop it and I'm going to have to rip it all the way out and start over from the beginning just because I dropped one stitch. Then I watched the videos and things like that, and that made me calm down a whole lot because that's just the kind of person that I was. It's like I dropped one stitch, now the whole stitch counts off, and now I gotta rip it all the way back. And oh, it's a travesty. But now I don't have to do that. If I drop it, pick it up, fix it. It's simple. Move on. So that's my tip for, I guess, kind of like technique tippy kind of thing. So go and look for this book. Again, it's probably on Amazon. It's a great book. And then watch some videos on YouTube. Practice making mistakes. Make mistakes on purpose, and you'll grow in your confidence. And that's, once you're confident in your knitting, you'll be doing all kinds of new things. You won't be scared to try new stitches, new techniques, things like that, and you will just blossom as a knitter, and you'll start to be able to adventure into new patterns that are a little more difficult. That they say they're hard, but they're really not. But they label them hard because they might have a different kind of stitch or a cabling in it or something like that. Anyway, I digress. I know I've rambled about that for a long time. The other thing is like Nurse Codi tips. I'm going to kind of go through this a little quickly because it's already going to be a long podcast. But as you probably noticed while I'm watching this, while you're watching this, is I have really bad posture. I tend to slump, and I've noticed that, you know, my back hurts a lot and that kind of stuff and whatnot. So what I would suggest is for all of us, for all of us, we knitters are horrible with our posture, and we're really bad on our musculoskeletal system, and we have a lot of pains from that. We cause ourselves a lot of pain and discomfort because of stuff that we're not even aware of. There's a whole like realm of this called ergonomics, and you probably heard that term before. We talk a lot about it for people who work in offices, sit at desks. You don't want to. You want, like, for instance, in an office, we tell people, you know, your computer screen should be, you know, at eye level with you. You don't want to, you know, be looking too far up or too far down with your computer screen. And, you know, keeping your arms at like a 90, your elbows at a 90-degree angle, things like that. Now, I'm not going to talk about that kind of stuff, but I am going to talk about our posture. And a lot of our pain that we get is in our neck, our shoulders, and our back. A lot of these pain and injuries even can be prevented if we use proper body mechanics, ergonomics, whatever term you want to use. Excuse me. Yes. So let's start. I'm going to start with shoulders actually, because this is one that I've noticed. My nose is itchy. One that I've noticed a lot that causes even tension in my neck here. And I noticed because when we're knitting, we sit here and our shoulders tend to roll forward as we're holding I'm going to pull this down a little bit so you can kind of see the laundry. Oop, laundry. Anyway, as we're knitting, we tend to, let me get something I can hold for demonstration. Okay, there's fuzzy stuff all in my hair. Anyway, so we're sitting at our chair or in our on our couch or whatever, and we're usually sitting like this, holding our yarn, concentrating really hard, paying attention, you know. And you can see I have this, you know, out in front of me so I can see it. My neck is bent over, my shoulders are turned in, my spine is curved forward. And after a while, you're going to get tired and your back's going to hurt and you're going to start doing all this stuff. Sorry, there's some fuzzy, probably from yarn, flying around. It's making my whole face itch. Sorry. So first thing is I'm going to talk about is shoulders. Even though, you know, we're head to toe, I'm going to start with our shoulders because I notice when I'm knitting that my shoulders are like this, and it's kind of pushing my clavicles forward and in. It's kind of squishing this all up right here. And I get even, after a while, it hurts even in here. But the problem is you have all these nerves and blood vessels and things that run through here and go to your arm. You know, sometimes you get some tingling or numbness. You feel like your hands are, we call it your hands are asleep. And a lot of times we say that that's, you know, you don't have good blood flow to your hands. But it's not, because if you look at your hands, they're not blue. They're still the same color, pink and everything. And what that numbness and tingling is, like if you fall asleep on your arm or something, that's not from lack of blood flow, like most of us say. It's actually you're laying on a nerve. You're impinging a nerve. So in the medical field, if someone tells me that they have numbness or tingling somewhere, I'm thinking of nerve issues. There's either some kind of impingement or pinching of a nerve. Now you can also have something called neuropathy, which is another type of nerve thing, but that's another story, another issue. But anyway, it all has numbness and tingling in your fingers. I tend to feel it here in these fingers, in my pinky and outer side of my hand. And what that's from is because when your shoulders are bent forward like this and you have all this bad posture, even though you don't realize it, you're impinging the natural flow of the way the nerves and everything should be in your shoulders. So what you should do is obviously sit up straight, and you want to like consciously roll your shoulders back a little bit like this. Now I'm not saying overdo it. I'm not saying poke your chest out like this, because that's, now you have it rotated and flexed back, and that's not right either, okay? So just rotate them back a little bit. And sometimes you can roll, you know, roll them, loosen up a little bit, but you don't want them to be forward, but just kind of roll them back and have them sit comfortably where they're supposed to be. That will also automatically kind of cause you to sit up straight too. Sorry, I've been talking for an hour. My voice is yelling at me now. So then when you're knitting, you want to hold your knitting in a way, you don't want to hold it too far away from you, because see, as you reach forward, your shoulders roll forward. So you want to kind of keep your knitting kind of like at this level, right here in front of you, kind of near to you, and knit that way. That way you should still, it should feel good. You shouldn't feel any stretching or pressure. It should just feel like it's natural way that it should be. Now, if we're really used to sitting like this, eventually we're going to get tired because our muscles are used to being like that. You have to retrain your muscle memory that this is proper. And I'm going to be working on this a lot too because I'm really bad about it and my back hurts because of it. So that's that. Your shoulders. That's a good place to kind of start. You don't want to be too far slumped over. I know it's like, no. See, if you look at this, I'm slumped over. My top of my spine is arched, and my neck is actually, my head is kind of like, almost like it's sitting back here, but my chin is jutted forward, my shoulders are rounded forward. You don't want to stay like this. It's going to hurt. So you want to try to sit up straight. Now, when you're sitting, well, I'll go into sitting in just a moment. So shoulders. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is your back, because when you put your shoulders back, not too far, remember, just kind of shrug your shoulder into the right place. It should feel kind of natural. Your head is going to want to be upright. Your back is going to want to be straight. Now, because we're really, especially in America, we are lazy and we have been slouching for a really, really long time, and no one stresses the importance of posture to us. But you should sit when you sitting or standing. You want to make sure that your spine is all lined up. You should feel a little bit taller, and it should feel natural. Your shoulders should be back a little bit and your head up. And just practice sitting or standing like that with your shoulders the right way. It should feel pretty natural. It shouldn't feel like it hurts. Now, because we're so used to sitting like this, your tummy muscles actually help support your back and help you sit up straight. So you're using these muscles here, so this can get a little tired, but also your lower back muscles are going to get tired pretty quickly. So when you're sitting, I would recommend that, you put a little bit of something back there to maybe support, like a pillow or something. Now, don't overarch your back. I'm going to stand up, but don't do like that. And see, that's not straight. You have a natural curve to your spine right there. Sorry, it's hard to show you. But you have a natural curve to your spine down here. You should have this. Now, don't be poking out like this. That's how pregnant women get. If you're pregnant and you're like that, that's normal. But if you're not pregnant, then you should be just have a little arch here in your back. And this is where you're going to feel a lot of people have lower back pain. Come into my office a lot with lower back pain, but when you start this and start sitting upright, you'll feel it a lot right here, and your back's going to get tired, and then you're going to say, ugh, it hurts. Because even when you stand, you kind of slouch, or you're like this. So you want to make sure that your back isn't over arched and down there, because that'll cause pain too. It should just feel straight and natural. It should be your spine should, if you're looking from the side, it should go from down here and have a little curve and go up. Okay? But your spine, all your vertebrae should sit stacked up on top of each other like this, all the way up. And that's natural alignment. And that keeps your bones from, because in between you have your nerves, and if your discs, if your vertebrae are like slightly off, so they're, instead of being like that, they're like that, you can see how it could put pressure on the nerves and stuff that are in here, and that's what causes pain, obviously. So try to keep your spine lined up as best as possible. The next is your neck, and this is a lot of people. This is hard, and especially people in my generation. Here's what we're always doing. See this? Our necks are always bent over, texting, playing video games, um, writing emails, and then sometimes if our computer isn't raised, our laptop is down here, and we're typing away. And your neck is like this. Now you want your neck should roll your shoulders back, and your neck will automatically kind of straighten up. But you want to. I'm trying to come up with the best way to say this because I'm not like a professional by any means, but um, act like there's like a string here on your head, and you kind of want to pull it. I think I've seen a video. Someone took the hair on the back of their head and kind of pulled it up a little like that. Probably, but it does. So basically, what you're trying to do is you don't want your chin to jut out like this. You don't want your neck to be like this. 'Cause, I mean, that's compressing the stuff in your, sorry, the vertebrae in your neck is compressing. So you want to, again, keep that all lined up. And part of that is you gotta, don't overdo it. You don't want to be like this because that's not comfortable. And then you're gonna talk really weird like this. And you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of uh that alien guy from Men in Black, and he's like, anyway. So you don't want to be that far in, but you don't want your chin to jet out. So you want to pull it pull it back. Kind of feel like something's kind of just pulling your head up slightly. Just line it up. Reach back there and feel the difference, like how your neck muscles and your bones kind of line up. So put that all together. Have your spine straight. Have your shoulders back a little, not but just comfortably, and your neck upright. Now, excuse me, when you're sitting, you want to sit as best as you can so that your knees are at a 90-degree angle to the floor. Your knees and your feet. So your feet should be flat on the floor. Don't cross your legs. That causes some extra like that. I'm really bad at sitting cross-legged too. Um, but that causes issues with my knees. My knees start to hurt after a while with that. But sit with your knees flat. Your feet flat on the floor. Your chair should be at a level where your knees are at a 90-degree angle to the floor. This will allow you to sit up. Now, I'm not resting against the back of my chair. In my chair, if I did that, I'd be like this and slumped over. My spine truly isn't straight, even though it's supposed to have this little arch to support your back. So usually if you're sitting in a chair properly, you're kind of sitting almost on the edge, kind of like the middle to the edge of it. But remember, it's going to feel uncomfortable until your body gets used to it and brings back those muscle memory of the proper way and alignment. But you're going to be glad in the long run because everything's going to stay lined up straight, and all that tension and pressure that's on your back is going to just line back up the way it's supposed to. Now, I do understand that some people have other issues going on, like osteoarthritis or osteoporosis, things like that, degenerative joint disease, and sometimes that can cause other issues. But I'm talking, and this can help you too. But this is more generally for people who haven't gotten to that stage yet, but they're already feeling, um, and then the last thing I forgot to mention about your neck is when we knit, we also tend to be like this. So try not to let your neck fall down. Try to just move your eye or look down every now and then. If you can knit without looking, try to keep your head up. And then the best thing you can do is we knitters like to sit and knit a lot. So the best thing you can do is stand up every 15 minutes or so. Even if you're not knitting and you're just working at the computer or sitting at a desk or something, it's always good to just stand up for a minute or so, stretch, get the blood flowing back from your rump, get it, flowing back up to your head in your brain. It wakes you up a little bit, gets the oxygen flowing through your body, but also gives you the chance to stand up and line back up and that kind of thing. Now, I know some people have those little wrist things that they can, or the bags that can hold on their wrist so they can knit and stand up. That's great. Just make sure that it's not too heavy pulling on you. And women who carry purses, I know my mom carries a purse, and I swear it weighs like 50 pounds. And she's always like, this side is hurting or whatever, and she's not standing up straight because we're carrying it and it's too heavy. It's so heavy it pulls this and things aren't lined up. So be careful with things like that. And book bags are really bad about pulling your shoulders back too far and hurting your back. Okay, enough for that. I got a couple more things I want to do, and it's already been on time. So I don't know if I showed you this last time, but this came in one of my yarn boxes. It was Christmas in July. This is Sport Weight pepperberryknits.com luxury fiber. It's 100% cashmere, and it is beautiful. Oh, and it's so soft. Now, this was special because I didn't get specialty yarn subscription for Yarn Box. It was just like Christmas in July is what they called it, and they sent us all a luxury yarn. And this is beautiful. And then I also got this yarn. I tried out the sock yarn one. I gotta remember to go cancel it because I don't have enough money to pay for both. But it came in this little tube this time, which is cool. But this is this yarn. I'm not gonna try to say this. No. Hi, dear. I lied. But it's a sock yarn, 2-ply fingering weight, 80% superwash merino wool, 20% nylon, 398 yards or 100 grams. It says Old World Elegance for Modern Knitters. Vignoble. I don't really see a color unless that's the color. But it's really pretty. And I can't wait to use it. So, I want to make a family member a scarf type thing out of this. They've been so supportive of me going back to school, Lisa, and all of that stuff. Whoops, see, I was already crouched over. And I wanted to make her something for Christmas, but I can't decide. I want to make her something really beautiful. She said she would like a scarf kind of thing. Um, I don't think she would like a shawl, like a triangle shawl kind of scarf kind of thing like that. And I don't really just want to make her like a long rectangle scarf. Um, but I want to make it out of this and give it to her, because she's awesome. But I need you guys' help. You guys. I need y'all's help, figuring out what pattern to use. And I was slouching again. A good pattern for that. So if you have any suggestions, on what's a good pattern, I have 2 skeins of that. And I'd like to make her something nice to put around her neck with that. So if you have suggestions, let me know. Um, okay, I had a few questions from you guys. So let's see. One was from Xtifer CB. What is your best childhood memory? Ooh, that's a hard one. Um, let's see. I don't have a lot of I don't have a lot of good childhood memories, but I do have a few. The thing that keeps coming to mind is when I was younger, I had a friend named Jordan, and he and his family would go to Missouri every 4th of July to see his grandparents, and they would always take me. And we'd shoot off fireworks, and they lived on a lake house, and it was so much fun. So I really enjoyed doing that. So that's probably good some good memories that I have. The next one is from Elvin's Knits. Says, "Hi Cody, I enjoy your podcast very much. I have a few questions. If you could not be a nurse any longer, what profession would you want to get into?" Um, if I couldn't be a nurse or a nurse practitioner or be in the medical field or whatever, another really cool job that I think would be fun. I was slouching again. I would love to be like a travel channel host or something and just like go and travel to different places and go to like the local places and try local food and just share it with people who can't go. I think that would be so much fun. I really enjoy traveling. Um, so that would probably be something that I would like to do. That would be a really cool job. If you could live any place in the world, where would you want to live? Ooh. Any place in the world. I'd probably pick a beach place. Islandy beach. Um, I don't know, maybe like Fiji or some kind of like some place like that, some tropical paradise kind of place. I was watching again. Um, I think that would be really cool, and just to be able to wake up and there's the beach and the ocean and paradise right out my doorstep. That's where I would like to live. Let's see. If you could meet a famous person who is no longer alive today, who would you want to meet? Ooh, I don't know. Um, there's so many. There's so many people who've really influenced the world. that I would like to knit. But I don't know. I have to get back to you on that one. What is your favorite color? My favorite color is I really like orange colors because it's the color for leukemia. But I also like red and blue and green. um, yeah. It depends on what it's for. Like if I'm wearing it, yeah, it kind of just depends on what it's for. But like you can see a lot of red in my accent color in my apartment. I have a lot of blue and green um, and gray in my shirt department. um, and then I really like orange because it's bright, it's happy, makes me smile. So it just kind of depends. Um, I'll do one more question. It's from Sissy Knit Crochet. Hello, Cody. I love your podcast. I'm from the South as well and enjoy my sweet tea and my knitting and crochet. Yay, sweet tea! And just so anyone who may not know, when we say sweet tea in the South, that means it's ice and it has sugar in it. So it's sweet and cold with ice. um, and what we do is we get so what I do is I have a pot and I put water in it and then I take tea bags. Usually I just take the personal tea bag sizes. I put 6 in the pot to make a gallon of tea. And then for a gallon of tea, we put 2 cups of sugar and in the tea jug. So we call it a tea jug. Put 2 scoops of sugar, which is 2 cups of sugar. In a pot, I boil 6 bags of tea and let it steep. Usually, by the time it starts boiling, it's already steeped and strong enough. So then I pour the hot tea from the pot into the jug and stir it up and mix up so that the sugar melts. And then I fill it up with cold water and put it in the refrigerator until it gets cold. Or you can put a bunch of ice in a cup and pour it over top of that because that's when it's the best, and then it makes it cold. It's so good, especially when it's really hot and humid outside, like it does here in the South. Anyway, didn't mean to go off on that. I was wondering what inspired you to learn to knit and how you learned to knit. Welcome to the podcast world. Hope you have a wonderful week. Sissy, aka Kim. Well, thank you. So I started. See me doing this? It's really bad. Okay, so I started off actually crocheting because I wanted to make hats for my patients. For those of you who don't know, I work in oncology, and or I was. I have recently had to quit for school, but I work as an oncology nurse. And when their hair falls out, I always enjoyed um, giving them a hat that I made. And so I started off that way, and then I just was like, I want to learn how to knit. I really thought it was neat. It was hard. I tried it before I learned to crochet actually, and I couldn't get it, so I just gave up. And crochet was easier for me, so I crocheted. And then I learned to knit, and how I learned to knit was by watching YouTube videos. So Bob Wilson 123, she taught me how to crochet basically. Her and the crochet crowd, what's that guy's name? Mikey. I learned how to crochet through them. And then knitting, a lot of my knitting I learned from Very Pink Knit. Stacy at Very Pink Knits. And that's, you know, that and just watching a whole bunch of videos on how to knit, how to purl, and how to fix things like I talked earlier. And then I just got some patterns and off I went. So basically I learned how through watching videos online on YouTube. I didn't buy classes or anything like that. I just watched and taught myself basically from watching other people. Okay, last thing is life update. So as you know, if you follow me on Facebook or Instagram, I rescued a dog last week named Annie, and I had to put her to sleep. I was not wanting to do that, but she had a lot of health issues, and someone had she'd been abandoned, and someone had kicked her apparently so hard that her diaphragm kind of busted open, and basically all her intestines and stuff that's supposed to be in her stomach are around her heart and her lungs in her chest, which is really bad. So as you can imagine, when she ate and things like that, it was hard for her to breathe. And then she was pregnant, most likely. And then the last, couple of days I had her, I could definitely feel something in her tummy growing. So if she would have if she would have carried the pregnancy, she would have died because it would have put so much pressure on her, and her lungs wouldn't have been able to expand, and her heart. And being pregnant, if you're a woman and you've been pregnant, you probably know this really well. You already have a sensation of being extremely full, and you can get short of breath easily because your diaphragm can't pull down as far to help you breathe and that kind of stuff. She also had heartworms, just very complicated. We couldn't just spay her and kind of like abort the pregnancy because if we cut her tummy open, because there's a hole in her diaphragm, your lungs have like this negative pressure system kind of thing. It's a little more complicated than that, but just to make it simple, so if her tummy would have been open, it would have allowed air in, and her lungs would have collapsed, and she would have quit breathing and not been able to breathe. They do have specialty vets you can take her to for the surgery for the diaphragmatic hernia. It would have cost a lot of money. One, it would have been very painful, and she had a high chance of not surviving it because they'd have to put her on a ventilator and all that kind of stuff to keep her alive. And anyway, I had to put her to sleep, and it was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do and decide. But I promised her that I wouldn't let her be in pain anymore ever again when I found her, and that was the only way I could hold that promise. So anyway, so that's little Annie. I thank you all for your support and your kind words and everything. Really helped me get through that. So thank you for that from me and Annie. Diamond is doing well. She is on a diet. She's a little fat. She's laying over here on the couch. But part of that is because it's been so hot and humid that neither one of us can stand to be outside in the heat very long. So, yeah, she hasn't gotten a lot of exercise. She hasn't really been eating more. It's just not exercising, and even myself, I've gained a little bit of weight. So hopefully, with fall coming, um, we can both get some more exercise. And then you can probably hear um, Billy Bob is doing fine. She or he, I call her she, even though her name is Billy. She likes to get out of her cage, and that kind of stuff. She still likes to chase Diamond around around the floor. Um, it's cute. But she is sorry. I'm trying to contain my emotions. um, but she's doing well, and she's liking to be around be around people and that kind of stuff. So yeah, she still has some learning to do, but she's doing good. My mom, um, her lungs are fine. I think I told you that, but she's had now two. I was watching again. She's had two urinalysis um, that have blood in them, microscopic blood. So we got to figure out what's going on with that. It could be kidney stones again. It could be bladder tumors. It could be a lot of stuff that we hope it's not. But she says the thing is she says she doesn't have any burning, no pain, anything like that. She doesn't have any urinary symptoms right now, but she's still having the blood in her urine. So that kind of has me worried. She's got a lot of issues going on. It's always like one thing after the other. And then she's having to get a new roof put on her double wide, and a wall replaced because of water damage. So we got all that going on. And then school. So a lot's been going on with school. I finished my clinical hours I was supposed to get done for the summer. And I got all that paperwork turned in. So that's good. Excuse me. So I got all that paperwork turned in. And then today I just heard from one of my teachers that I will be going to a new place for my pediatric rotation, which is good news. I'm excited about that because I was having a little bit of anxiety over whether or not I was going to get enough peds hours in at the family practice that I'm working at. So he mostly sees adults, and so getting that done. And then she's sending me to another place down in, I think it's Augusta, Georgia, which is going to be another long drive I'll have to make, but for my OB rotation. So I won't be going to Grady anymore, which is just fine with me. And I'll still get the hours in. So that way it'll keep me on track so I can graduate in December and not worry about getting behind in my clinical. So I've been working on the paperwork and everything for that. So yeah, I hope you all are having a wonderful week. I hope you are all knitting and crocheting and spinning or whatever you do, and enjoying it and sewing, all that stuff, reading, anything. Um, just remember to enjoy life. Take things one stitch at a time, right? Whether it's learning new stitches, techniques, that kind of stuff, or it's our day-to-day, our day-to-day life. So remember, my little challenge to you all is to work on sitting up straight, keeping our shoulders back, our head held high in the correct position, helping ourselves be healthier, feel better, and not have pain in our back, our neck, our shoulders. So let me know how that's going for you guys. If it's helping or whatnot. Let me know if there's other things, I guess, medical wise that you want me to talk about on the podcast. Any questions you have, you can go over to the Cody Knits podcast group, and there's a Ask Cody question forum tab thingy. You can go and put your questions there. And then there'll be a link for this episode too, if you want to leave any comments that are specific for this episode. Anyway, I'm gonna go. This is already an hour and 35 minutes long and super long. I apologize that it's so long. I just had a lot to go over. I kind of got behind on knitting things. But anyway, and I know you all are super excited to go and watch the Bakery Bears podcast. And you probably already watched it actually, because I'm excited to go watch it and I want this to hurry up and end so I can. Anyway, I look forward to hearing from you all, and have a wonderful week. And again, I love you all and thank you for being so supportive and kind. It means the world to me. Anyway, bye y'all.